Hey gang, it's Doug with Doug's Timeshare Travels, and this is a video of a summer weekend trip we took to Steamboat Springs, Colorado. We'll cover a few of the restaurants we ate at and some of the activities that we found while we were in town. Now, anytime you're up in Colorado, there's the opportunity that while you're driving, you're going to see a little bit of wildlife along the highway. At the edge of town, there was a nice little family park. Had some areas for picnicking, some children's equipment, and for us, it had this nice little walking path along the Yampa River. Of course, it also serves as a bike path. And the Yampa River, while we were here in early June. There was a lot of the spring runoff from the mountains that was filling the river, and it was running pretty briskly. So they do have river rafting down this river. In the later summer, after the runoff is finished and it slows down a bit, I believe you can rent some inner tubes and do like a little float trip down the river instead of the river rafting. Now, also in this area, just down a little bit from it, there is a walking path that'll take you along several of the springs that are in the area. These are thermal springs, but they're not really hot springs. I think the hottest of them gets around 80 degrees. This is Steamboat Spring. This is where the town gets its name from. Before the railroad went through, this spring apparently was also a geyser, and legend has it that just before it erupted, it made a chugging sound reminiscent of the sound of a steamboat going up the river. Black Sulphur Spring is another one of the springs along this walking path. It's the coolest of all of the springs with a temperature only of 65 degrees. And then there is the Sulphur Spring. And trust me, it does smell a lot like sulfur if you're downwind. And when they did some reconstruction on the highway, there were several small springs right in this area. They were mostly mud pots. Somehow or another, the city managed to consolidate them all, and they created Spring Lake. Now, also in town is the Old Town Hot Springs. This spring is a true hot spring, gets up to about 140 degrees. And they have some pools in which you can bathe in the spring water. They had a lot of construction going on when we were there, so we elected not to go in. Now, I did not get video of another hot springs. It's about 4 miles outside of town, called Strawberry Fields Hot Springs. There's about 27 steps to get down to the Strawberry Fields Hot Springs, and my wife really doesn't do steps very well. If you want to take a short hike, there's Fish Creek Falls National Recreation Trail. It's only a quarter-mile hike, but it is a 10% grade, so it's rated as a moderate hike. If you want something a little more strenuous, there is the hike to Long Lake, which is 5 miles. For me, getting down to Fish Creek Falls was enough. I really just kind of wanted to see the falls, especially with the high water levels from the spring runoff. It is an improved trail, but it's not a paved trail. As you can see, the river here is running really high. And when you get down to the falls, there's a little bridge that goes across the river. It was closed because the river was a little bit too high, made it a little dangerous. If you want to continue on to Long Lake, you just would normally go across the bridge and continue on. There's also the Steamboat Gondola. There's a fee for this gondola, and it's considered dynamic pricing, so on the weekends it's a little higher than on the weekdays. Now, in the same area as the gondola, there's several mountain bike trails. So if you like biking, this is a good place to be. In town on the weekends, on Saturday, we have the farmers market, and this was an enjoyable afternoon of just walking around and shopping. One of our favorite meals to eat out when we're on vacation is breakfast, and Creekside Restaurant provided one of the best breakfasts while we were in town. They have a little bit of indoor seating, not a tremendous amount. They have a nice menu, not necessarily the least expensive menu for breakfast, but they serve a pretty good breakfast here. Now, I went with a basic breakfast of ham and eggs, but I substituted the cheesy green grits for my potatoes, and that's basically cheese grits with green chilies, and it was really quite good. They do have a fair amount of outdoor seating, and of course it takes its name because the creek runs right along the side of it. One of the other restaurants that we ate breakfast at was Winona's. Now, Winona's is also a bakery. They had some really good looking cinnamon rolls. They also have a nice breakfast menu. And they have a little bit of outdoor seating and a little bit of indoor seating. They're really kind of a small restaurant. Many of these restaurants in town are in older buildings and are maybe a little bit limited on seating. Now, my wife pretty much always goes with ham and eggs, and this is an example of their ham and eggs. And on this day, I decided to try the huevos rancheros. We also tried the Shack Cafe, which they specialize in breakfast and lunch. And it's, pretty much a touristy looking restaurant, a little bit of outdoor seating. Again, it's a small restaurant. They had probably the most reasonable prices of any of the breakfast restaurants that we ate at. And like I said, kind of a touristy restaurant, a lot of wood paneling, a lot of wood, trying to make it look kind of like a shack. They had good service. Food was pretty good, very reasonably priced. I think it was the cheapest of the restaurants that we ate breakfast at this trip. And again, this is their version of ham and eggs. And again, I went with the huevos rancheros. I don't normally get that, but kind of felt like it this trip. While we were at the farmer's market, we decided to stop in for a beer at the Yampa River, or at the Yampa Ice House. The Yampa Ice House, really nice restaurant. If we hadn't eaten breakfast, we probably would have eaten lunch here. They have a lot of nice outdoor seating. It's along the Yampa River, so you get to listen to the river and you get a little bit of a view of the river. We were able to watch some of the river raft tours going down the river. They have a nice bar and a little bit of rooftop seating, which might provide a better view. And they look like they have a really nice bar menu. So possibly next time we're in town, we might skip breakfast one day, go down to the farmer's market. This restaurant opens at 11, so might come down here and not just have a beer, but go ahead and have a beer or a drink and lunch. Now, I'm kind of a sucker for old buildings with a little bit of history. And because of that, we decided to stop in the Old Town Pub. Now, this building has been around for a very long time. Originally, it was a hospital and sanitarium for those with tuberculosis looking to come to town for the thermal spas to get a little bit of relief from some of their disease. The bar in the restaurant wasn't original to the building, of course. But it is 100 years old and was moved from one town to another to this location. They really had, that was a very nice salad that we had with the prime rib dinner. Just be aware that if you're in the restaurant at 9 p.m., they do have live music. And even though you've ordered a meal, reportedly, they will still ask you for a cover charge for the band. Mazzola's Italian Restaurant is another restaurant that we ate dinner at one night. And again, it's in an older building. They have, I think, a little bit of seating out front there. Well, I know they have a little bit of seating out front. And they have a fairly nice menu. Again, not horribly priced, reasonably priced, especially for a resort town. And if you want pizza, they have pizza. Now, we didn't try the pizza. We went with the meat penne pasta, and it was very good. You'll see a picture of that here in just a few minutes. Really nice interior, kind of an intimate restaurant. Again, not a lot of seating. They have a nice bar area also. We had their white hummus, which was really some of the best we've ever had. That was really good hummus. And there is the penne pasta that we had. And we really should have just ordered one and split it. We ended up taking quite a bit back to the timeshare with us. So that was kind of our weekend trip there to Steamboat Springs. I'm going to leave you with a little bit of view of the Yampa River again. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It really helps out this channel. Until next time, safe travels.